who play for them. And for us, I have 3 other siblings who were all in grade school playing their own sports. So
After playing a shortened game last week, only 49 minutes, what's the significance of that for your fitness and also the team's fitness? Are you guys a little bit more fresh?
Yeah, definitely. I think that since our last MLS game, we've had a little bit of a break, and then the game last week was tough to have so many breaks and so much time in the locker room. But it does mean everyone's more fresh and be ready to go in the game this week.
You had a nice setup on Grant's goal the other night. How important it is for you from an attacking standpoint to not only put the ball in the back of the net yourself, but to set your teammates up?
I mean, anytime you're involved in a goal, it's good. Whether that's an assist, drawing fouls near the box, drawing, defenders near posts on runs, all of that contributes to goals, and however you can contribute, I'm happy with it.
Jeff, Columbus caused some problems last time, over flooding the midfield a little bit. How will you combat that this time around?
Yeah, you're right. I think that, we knew going into that game that was where they were strong. I think at home, they're bound to be on the ball a lot, and they created some chances. I think that when we got stretched, they were able to get in behind us and cause some problems. But they were coming off a part of the season where they had trouble getting a win, and they would kind of needed one at home. So this time we're at home. I think it'll be a different game. We've sorted some things out. We get some guys healthy. So.
Last time they shut you guys out. What needs to change from an attacking standpoint this time around?
I think we just need to take advantage of our chances. On the road it's difficult to play, and we did get chances, we just didn't put them away. So at the end of the day, it was a 2-0 scoreline, but this time around we'll definitely come out and put them in the back of the net. Taking
on an MLS team, a team you're very familiar with, obviously you played them back in May. What's the biggest challenge that they pose to you guys?
The midfield is obviously their strength, and they can get speed on the wing as well. So if we close them down in the midfield and keep the team compact, I don't think they'll be able to get in behind us again.
What would a win do for your guys' confidence moving forward in the U.S. Open Cup?
I mean, a win any time. I don't care if it's reserve training or practice or a first team game. Boosts your confidence. So coming out of here with 3 points is only going to better us for domestic play as well as Open Cup.
Just take us quickly back to that shortened game against Pittsburgh last week. Tough to get your legs under you in the competition, only playing 49 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, I thought that that's some of the best soccer that we played, for that period of time. It's been with the weather and having to wait that long and then it getting canceled, but, the guys came out quick, was able to get, 2 goals and by halftime have a 2-1 lead. So, with the rules being what they are, if we can't continue to play the game, we get a W out of that. But I thought the team played well first half, moved the ball really well, kept possession really well, and hopefully we can take that in to Wednesday's game.
Columbus has a plethora of players missing. I think they're only traveling with 16 guys now. How does that affect your game plan at all, or does it factor in at all?
It doesn't really change the game plan. I think it shows a great opportunity for us, in this Open Cup tournament. But at the same time, you can't take them lightly. The last time we played Columbus, we lost 2-0. Obviously, they had, a different group of players playing in that game. But, you always have to be ready. This type of competition gives a chance for whether it be teams in other leagues or even players that don't normally get to play on the first team in the MLS matches. And, they're fighting for jobs and they want to win. So they have something to prove out there. So we got to come out, take advantage of, maybe some of their best players not being there, but also take advantage of us getting the home field advantage with our fans, the crowd that we're going to have, and come out and get 3 points.
Dearly beloved, we gather here tonight for the 101st Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup, as it's the Chicago Fire hosting their rival, the Columbus Crew, in this fifth-round matchup as both teams try to advance to the quarterfinals and face the already advanced Atlanta Silverbacks. Next to Kevin Egan, I'm Dan Kelly. It's great to have you with us for a beautiful night for a U.S. Open Cup match. Good conditions for the Chicago Fire to try and take advantage of a short-handed, depleted Columbus Crew side.
You say short-handed, you say depleted, but this Columbus Crew side has plenty of talents within this team. It looks like Greg Berhalter may go with a 5-3-2 formation with very attack-minded fullbacks. Ben Sweat, of course, making his professional debut tonight for the Columbus Crew.
Welcome to the field, the Columbus Crew and your Chicago Fire.
So now the Crew and the Fire entering here inside Toyota Park. It's a short-handed Columbus side for the Chicago Fire, enjoying the break. They do not return to MLS action until next Wednesday when they host TFC here at Toyota Park. It's a perfect opportunity to try and exploit this Columbus team that already perhaps has their mind on their next MLS match this Saturday against Dallas.
Yeah, quick turnaround for sure for Columbus. Chicago Fire looking like a strong side today for Frank Yallop. Certain players still make the bench, likes of Lavelle Palmer.
As we send it down to our public address announcer, Tim Sinclair, for tonight's national anthems.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets red clear, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Beautiful rendition of the U.S. national anthem. Columbus Crew, Chicago Fire. We get a look at tonight's starters for the Columbus Crew. Remember, they advanced here by beating India 11 back on June 17th in extra time. Kevin, what are you seeing here with the starting 11 from Coach Greg Berhalter?
Well, as you can see, a depleted squad, which is 15 players, part of the squad tonight for Greg Berhalter. But this team is blessed with absolute pace, certainly on the flanks going forward. Look for Hector Jimenez on the right-hand side and Sweat on the left-hand side, and then plenty of power and strength in the center of midfield. Tony Chani alongside Kevon George.
Frank Yallop, Chicago Fire, they advanced to face Columbus by beating the Pittsburgh Riverhounds in a rain-shortened match, and this lineup, the exact same starting 11.
Yeah, no changes to the team, like you said, that beat Pittsburgh. Good strength on the flanks with plenty of youth. Harry Shipp getting all the plaudits as one of the best young players in Major League Soccer. He'll take part on the left-hand side, and on the right-hand side, young Grant Ward from Tottenham Hotspur is impressed immensely for the Chicago Fire, scoring his first goal last week.
So hopefully for the manager, Frank Yallop, for the Chicago Fire, a more confident side coming off of that victory over the Pittsburgh Riverhounds. And both these teams trying to advance to face the Atlanta Silverbacks, who last night defeated Colorado in a controversial match that saw the festivities end up 10 versus 8, a few red cards and some face stompings as we look at our officials tonight. Sabiga, the man in the middle, just his second U.S. Open Cup match, so a little bit of inexperience as the visitors from Columbus, and Josh Wolf, assistant coach, second all-time Chicago Fire scorer. Now a look at the Fire bench. Frank Yallop, C.J. Brown, Clint Mathis, and goalkeeping coach Aaron Hyde able to share a few chuckles prior to opening kick.
Well, Dan, there's always fireworks in games between Columbus and the Chicago Fire. 14 goals in just 4 U.S. Open Cup games, all going the way of the Chicago Fire. 4-0-0 against, most recently, of course, last season when the Fire won by 2-1, an early kickoff due to a weather delay the night before. And then, of course, back in 1998, the Chicago Fire famously got the better of the Crew by 2-1. Frank Yallop scoring the winner in extra time. Frank Klopas, I should say, excuse me.
That's the first Frank mix-up this year. Job well done. It's almost July as Quincy Amarikwa and Mike McGee stand over the ball. And the Chicago Fire team, though, they've had success in the U.S. Open Cup. Perfect play against the Columbus Crew, but not so good the opening match this year. Looking to avenge that 2-0 loss to Columbus back on May 24th on the road.
And Dan, literally from the kickoff, you can see Columbus will play that 5-3-2 formation, similar to the formation that Costa Rica has played in the World Cup and been very, very successful with. Giancarlo Gonzalez, of course, part of that Costa Rica side. So congratulations to him, having a wonderful World Cup so far.
Early possession here by Tony Ciani and the Columbus Crew. Try to stretch Greg Cochran. They took advantage of Greg Cochran a little bit back in Columbus. It's big Tony Ciani, always a presence in the midfield.
Well, Dan, what was the key factor in the game? One of the key factors anyway in the game, May 24th, when Columbus absolutely destroyed Chicago. It only finished 2-0, but on the night the Crew, a much better side. And it was all to do with pace. It was all to do with getting behind. This man on the ball at the moment, Greg Cochran, had a bad night. Ethan Finley went to town on Greg Cochran. And you look at this Columbus Crew side tonight, plenty of pace once more. Yes, Ethan Finley is not in the team. But you look at Justin Miram, Ben Spies, Ben Sweat, Hector Jimenez.
Switching away from pressure, Matt Watson on the surge forward. Zenor keeping a watchful eye on him. The Silver Fox, Logan Pause, in the midfield, extending his club record. U.S. Open Cup appearances, number 27 tonight for the legend Logan Pause. Playing a different role this year, but starting to see more minutes. Good poise by Watson.
A real test tonight, though, for this Columbus Crew. The depth within the roster. You've got people that are cup-tied, injured, away on World Cup duty. Suspended as well, I should say, too, of course, from the game against Indy 11. Former Chicago Fire player, Daniel Palladini.
Cup-tied, of course, talking about the newest crew member, Alvaro Rey. Came over in that Dominic Oduro deal. Here's Harrison Shipp. Jeff Lorenowitz along with Hurtado and Amarikwa. The only Fire players to play over 1,000 minutes this year. Baki Samari, well over 900. The surprise, though, minute eater this year so far has been Greg Cochran, as he's been thrust into a starting role at times with the injury to Gonzalo Segaras. It's Mike McGee looking to get involved in this match. Drifting way back to support Baki Samari. Over the top, intended for Amarikwa. Pause the pressure, forcing Ciani to turn away. George finding Tyson Wall. Steve Clark, the starting goalkeeper. Sean Johnson, the 25-year-old, guarding the goal for the Chicago Fire. Big motivation for the Georgia native Sean Johnson. Guys like Stephen Kinney and assistant coach Clint Mathis to try to advance and play in the quarterfinals against the Atlanta Silverbacks in their home state of Georgia's. Here's Greg Cochran with some room.
And right there is the issue. Greg Cochran receives the ball on the left-hand side, and Harry Shipp, the man on the ball, had tucked right inside, giving Cochran no option on the flank.
It's McGee chipping it by everyone. So the pursuit of the Dewars Trophy alive and well in the United States is Harry Shipp. Good no panic reaction, finds the right option down the near side, and Cochran curls it in, and first time wide. Grant Ward, who just opened up his goal scoring account last week against Pittsburgh, again trying to threaten from the right side.
Wonderful combination play from all three of the youngsters in this Chicago Fire team. Harry Shipp with the composure feeds Greg Cochran in plenty of space, and with a beautiful cross on the right foot, found Grant Ward at the back post, who really should have done better. Wonderful chance there for Ward.
So as we mentioned, the fight is on for the Dewar Trophy. 101st U.S. Open Cup. 5th round play. The Chicago Fire possessing. Good first couple of minutes by Matt Watson, taking the initiative along the far touch. Here's Jeff Lorenowitz activating in the middle along with Pause. Harry Shipp looks fresh here. His first rookie season, challenged by a lot of minutes at a different level.
I felt it was a slow start against the Pittsburgh Riverhounds last week from the Chicago Fire. Pittsburgh dominating inside the first 10 minutes. But right now, yes, just 6 minutes in, the Chicago Fire controlling the possession stakes, putting some nice one-touch football together.
Offside flag comes up on Ben Spees. Gives us a chance to remind you can get your fix of live soccer July 2nd when the Fire take on Toronto FC at Toyota Park to help celebrate Independence Day. The Fire will be offering $2 hot dogs and hosting a special post-game fireworks show. Get tickets now at chicago-fire.com next Wednesday. As MLS action returns tonight, not for the Fire, but the rest of the league reconvenes tonight as Montreal and Vancouver, the late match, and things really rev back up this weekend. Fewer mistakes from Baki Samari recently. Amarikwa, great extension to evade the tackle of Barson. Amarikwa finding the option in Greg Cochran. Second service in this match for Cochran. Doesn't work out, but it drops down to Watson. Pause, forced by Tony Ciani. Iani, Shipp on for Greg Cochran. Cochran again, another cross. This one's better. Was looking for Amarikwa and Grant Ward. Tracked down by Ward. Good energy behind the ball and much better possession from the Fire. But it's turned over as Miram, the crew going the other way.
Great start from Greg Cochran so far. Defensively, he's been good, but going forward, very impressive. Showing for it always on that left-hand side. Under pressure now, of course, from Segaris, now back fit for the Chicago Fire. Gonzalo Segaris, a mainstay really in the team, and Greg Cochran came in and did really well. Struggled against Columbus, as we mentioned, at Crew Stadium.
Well, Watson trying to make the penetrating run, but Tony Ciani has him wrapped up. Cochran looks a lot more confident here in the earlier moments. So he'll have to rely upon that now. Tested defensively. Jimenez floats it across, found by Pause. Calmed down there by Jeff Lorenowitz.
Two things to point out from that last attack. One, the pace of the Columbus Crew. Very capable of the counter-attack, quality players going forward. But two, Matt Watson had gone forward, caught a little bit out of position. Who was there to track back? Logan Pause, positionally excellent.
Doing the little things here in the 10th minute. Chicago Fire. The red and blue kits. Sward peels away. Pause. All by his lonesome there is Jeff Lorenowitz now loitering down the left side. It's Cochran. Moving the ball well. Now the Fire need to start directing chances toward the frame. Grant Ward earning the first corner of this match. Well, for the latest Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup results and information, visit ussoccer.com. Harry Shipp and the Chicago Fire ready themselves for a corner chance of holy Shipp from the Section 8 supporters. Dropped in nicely by Shipp, but Eric Gehrig, who is very active on that back line in the Columbus win, continues to be a presence on that back line for Greg Berhalter. Here's McGee one time, and again it's Eric Gehrig. Right place, right time.
Great ball across. Mike McGee with those striker instincts. Looked to me like he was nearly trying to just play it across rather than shoot.
Amarikwa looking to save it. It's Tyson Wall nudged it away. And again, well defended by Columbus, but Grant Ward and Quincy Amarikwa. Clever little plays on the outside. The cross coming, and Baki Samari just couldn't meet it. But again, threatening are the Chicago Fire.
Quality from Grant Ward. Gets to the byline once more, delivers a great ball. Baki Samari, 6'4". He needed to be 6'6" on that occasion, not too far away.
Cochran doesn't force things. Ziani, Baki Samari going for a little gallop. It's Matt Watson. Lorenowitz. Again, Greg Cochran. Shipp tries to go back to Cochran. Jimenez intervenes for Columbus. Fire playing into the breeze here in this 13th minute. Toyota Park, just south of Chicago. U.S. Open Cup play, 5th round. It's a man down for the Chicago Fire, and it's last year's MVP, Mike McGee.
Yeah, Mike McGee, furious. Dangerous tackle. Anytime a defender comes through the back of a striker. As we look at this just one more time. I mean, the ball seemed to be won fairly cleanly by Wall. McGee felt it.
Has to be a comforting feeling for the two-time MLS Cup champion, two-time MLS Coach of the Year, Frank Yallop, to see Mike McGee involved in the attack once again. Is Mike McGee. Little payback and a little kick to the back there of Tyson Wall's leg. Watch Wall and McGee. They've been chatting and jabbing at one another here in the early moments of this match. It's Watson. Again, Eric Gehrig sprouts up. Ward and McGee, the pressure coming. They dislodge it from Ben Sweat.
Great desire tonight from the Chicago Fire to win the ball higher up the pitch. McGee in particular has been very active in that sense.
Now we need to get this guy loose, Quincy Amarikwa. So here's Ward. Nice cross, Amarikwa! Stopped by Clark. Big first stop. Best chance of the game, and Steve Clark answers.
How about Grant Ward tonight? Another fantastic delivery. And when it looked like Steve Clark was caught at sea, he had the quick feet to get back and make the save.
Well positioned, makes himself big, gets a bit of a break, and the score remains 0-0 as Tony Tchani and the Columbus Crew now trying to exploit. Ambitious try there from Justin Miram, but he's got the capabilities of finishing from there. It's been an entertaining match so far.
It has indeed. Just 15 minutes in, Justin Miram with a rasper from distance. Played up top, of course, in his Michigan Wolverine days. Went all the way to the College Cup. Plays mainly on the flank for Berhalter and the Columbus Crew, but up top tonight, we'll see a lot more time up top now that Dominic Oduro has been traded. And he's well capable. Plenty of pace, plenty of muscle.
Ward gives to Ship. Harry thinks about it. Can't find the lane. Looks for options. Left foot had Clark going the other way, but Steve Clark makes his second stop of the game.
And that ball just took a wicked deflection en route to goal. And Steve Clark again. Plenty of agility. So the World Cup's on right now. Everybody's involved. Everybody's watching the World Cup. But get out and support your local team. Look at this for action already, Dan. Just 16 minutes in. Fantastic spectacle here at Toyota Park.
That's Kevin Egan. I'm Dan Kelly. We're not Dwight Burgess or Chris Doran or Neil Sika, but it's good to have Crew fans listening tonight too. And of course, the dedicated Chicago Fire supporters. 17th minute. And so far, it's been a swell match. Good chances going both ways, especially from the Fire side as they're missing the connection with Quincy Amarikwa.
Now, I mentioned the World Cup, Dan, and we all have fun watching the World Cup. I'm sure these football teams have plenty of laughs when you look at the squads. Giancarlo Gonzalez, of course, playing at the World Cup.
It's Watson coming back for the Fire to quell the situation.
I think the Fire got away with that one. When Watson was tracking back, it looked like he put the hand on the back and completed the clearance.
Ben Sweat stayed down on the grass for a little bit. Back up on his boots.
But you can see the position of Ben Sweat attacking from that left wing back role. You can see the left arm trailing from Matt Watson. Potentially on the back of Ben Sweat, who likes to get forward very quick.
Update from Jeff Crandall. Other U.S. Open Cup action. Rochester scored, cutting that New England lead to 2-1. It's Colin Rolfe with the strike for the Rhinos. It's Tyson Wall keeping things calm in the back for Columbus. Justin Miram. As the Crew begin to spread out on this attack. Watson with the tackle. Ben Spees trying to create along that far side.
But don't miss your chance to watch the Chicago Fire first team practice live. The 4th annual Practice in the Community presented by the University of Illinois Hospital and Health Sciences System will take place on Saturday, June 28th from 8:30 a.m. to 11 a.m. at Gary Ortiz School in Little Village. For more information, visit chicago-fire.com/practice.
Like Logan Paws, a UNC product, Ben Spees. Off the corner, Iani. Easily there to greet it first. Miram and Spees. Forcing the issue is Quincy Amarikwa, but Columbus keeping this possession. Something they've been doing better in the recent minutes. As they settle into this match, Kevon George. Here's Chani. Kevon George wants it, finally gets it. Jimenez across the face of goal. Baki Samari, Ship trying to help it out. It will come out here.
You can see the attacking ability again one more time on this right-hand side this time. Hector Jimenez played at right back for the first time this season against the Chicago Fire at Crew Stadium toward the end of May. It was very impressive. And that's what's impressed me a lot about Greg Berhalter and this Columbus Crew side is the ability to adapt. You look at somebody like Bernardo Honor. He's able to play off the main striker. He's able to play on the left-hand side. He's also able to go and play at left back like he did against Indy 11 last week. Scored in that game as well. They can push the 2 wing-backs forward, and they look very comfortable, even without quality players like Michael Parkhurst and also, of course, Giancarlo Gonzalez, who's playing at the World Cup.
Different coach, different personality, different style. They figure out that Dominic Odero's not going to work out, so they make the deal and start to make some changes. Here's Ben Spees. Visions there of Justin Miram. It was Brian Bliss, current technical director, that had to go as an interim head coach at the end of last season. Baki Samari, well-paced pass, finding Grant Ward. Ben Sweat nudges that out.
That was absolutely quality from Bakari Sumari. He tries that same pass often. Sometimes not so good, sometimes spectacular, and that one was absolutely inch perfect.
Just gliding on his slippers there, Grant Ward was able to find it. Now it's the rookie. Homegrown kid, Harry Ship. Curls it, trying the bike. Quincy Amarikwa. We've seen that from his locker before, Kevin, as you like to say.
Yeah. Acrobatic ability for sure. Scored a cracker of a goal against Real Salt Lake last season to level it late on. That was in acrobatic fashion. This one obviously a lot more difficult to execute.
Talked about it last. Importance, though, of going on a run in the U.S. Open Cup. It's what propelled the Fire last year to help them turn the season around and have the best record in MLS from the midpoint on, but just missing out on MLS Cup playoffs on the final day of the regular season.
As impressed as I've been with how the Columbus players adapt, they've looked quite suspect from Harry Ship's dead ball. Every corner, whether it's Steve Clark has been caught a little bit at sea or else just defenders not winning it in the air straight away. Chicago causing problems.
The advantage the Crew have is they're the roadside, the depleted team. Thinking about their match perhaps to Saturday in MLS action versus Dallas. Not really a lot of pressure here on Columbus.
Yeah, but this is a Columbus Crew side, a very proud Columbus team that has not made it past the round of 16 since 2010. The year that they went on, obviously, to the final that year and lost to Seattle. But it's long overdue for Columbus to make a run in the U.S. Open Cup.
So they lost and were knocked out last year by the Fire in the 4th round here at Toyota Park, and that rescheduled matinee. It's Quincy Amarikwa turns in the one hopper handled cleanly by Steve Clark. So Amarikwa, a handful to deal with there for Tyson Wall. Nice crowd gathered on this Wednesday night. Much better match conditions. There's 2 balls on the field. Remind you can keep up with all Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup updates on Twitter at US Soccer. It's Frank Yallop and Greg Berhalter doing some coaching.
You know, I mentioned the fun that the players would have during the World Cup. All you have to do is look at the connections. Of course, Giancarlo Gonzalez playing at the World Cup, but even the Chicago Fire locker room. So many players from the likes of England, Matt Watson, Grant Ward. I'm sure they were getting plenty of stick over the past couple of weeks. Quincy Amarikwa going for the ball has, of course, USA, but also Nigerian connections. Brazil, Alex. Ecuador, Juan Luis Anongano. Costa Rica, Gonzalo Segares. I'd say the fun is immense while watching the games.
And let's not forget, of course, about the beloved USA, U.S. men's national team. Just 4 MLS players last World Cup, utilizing 10 this year.
Yeah, it's been great to watch. Absolutely brilliant. Mexico, Costa Rica, Mexican connections, very prevalent as well. But the World Cup this year, it's just been a joy to watch.
And the joy will continue, of course, tomorrow. 10 a.m. dual screens will be going around North America's. This is the U.S. Open Cup 101st year. Ben Spies had it for a moment, quickly coughs it up to Patrick Ianni. Watson to Ward.
So one thing about Justin Meram I've noticed a few times in this game so far, if a touch doesn't go his way, he's given up on the play. He's just stopped, and that's something that won't impress a coach. Got to keep going. For example, right there, he could have gone and chased Logan Paws. Instead, he just stopped and gave up on it. It's something you never see from Quincy Amarikwa.
Miram's been a presence against the Fire in past games. Greg Cochran trying to cut it through the penalty area. Conveniently comes down to Paws. Knocked down by Chani. And he begins the counterattack. There you see the frustration again from Justin Meram, turning around to Tony Chani, not liking that pass. Watson over the top. Harrison Ship trying to make the turn. Harry and the Chicago Fire earn the corner instead.
Now let's see how Columbus deal with this corner kick from Harry Ship. We mentioned the struggles from previous set plays.
Ship this time goes to McGee first time. Off of Jimenez. Possession stays with the man they used to call the Wizard, Harry Ship. As Tony Chani continues a strong performance for Columbus. begins the attack the other way. It's Logan Pause, looking young and refreshed in the midfield there. His Ship sprays it. Quincy going for a little run, turns to McGee. Mike McGee goes end line and helps earn yet another corner off of Chad Barson.
Once more, though, defensive responsibilities, experience and anticipation from Logan Pause. Breaking up a Columbus attack, doing the simple things really well.
Big bodies congregate. Baki Samari, Patrick Ianni, cool overhead look of Harry Ship. Easily claimed by Steve Clark. It's Cochran on the right side.
Strange to see that, the referee overruling the official sideline. Overruling his linesman when the backs of the players were to the referee.
McGee, cool little dummy. Sneaks through to Matt Watson. Wedged in. It's Quincy. Bumps back to Pause. Logan Pause the drive. Mike McGee trying to get his boot on it, but quickly cleared away by Columbus. Laurentowicz gets all ball.
Great tackle from Laurentowicz. It's cup football. That's the bite and the aggression that you need. Wonderful tracking back, perfectly timed tackle. Bernardo Honor still having words with the referee after having words with Big Red Jeff Laurentowicz. Didn't like it. Venezuela not happy at all. That's just tough football.
Hasn't been a fatiguing first half as usual for Jeff Laurentowicz. Not a lot of touches. More possession from the Fire as here's Miram getting a little handsy there with Matt Watson along the far touch. Other U.S. Open Cup action remains 2-1 New England over Rochester in the 80th minute. Is again active, moving forward. Grant Ward continues to look more confident every minute. Cochran tested by Jimenez.
Referee awards the free kick. Columbus playing a very wide game. I just feel that if they can get the ball nice and early and switch it, they'll catch Chicago out. Chicago, when Columbus seem to get the ball, they're tucking tight, right inside, compressing the field. And Columbus have that pace that we talked about to really cause Chicago trouble.
Columbus seems to be playing with a little more bite and urgency now around the ball. It's Watson. Wants on other options to move a little closer. It's Quincy Amarikwa.
How do you mark him? You have to be as physical as Quincy Amarikwa. You have to toughen up playing against him. And he forces fouls.
And then, oh yeah, he's got that pace.
The problem with Quincy is just not, faking that foul and going down too easy. He needs to stay up strong and be strong in those tackles, which he is doing now tonight.
Harry Ship eyes things up. Floated in beautifully. Ianni has struck, and the Chicago Fire the first goal, jump out to the early lead.
Outstanding goal. Harrison Shipp, the hometown hero, the homegrown product, whips in an absolutely incredible ball to the edge of the 6. And who's there? Only Patrick Ianni, along with Jeff Laurentowicz and Mike McGee, but it's Ianni to tuck it home. A real poacher's goal from the former Seattle Sounder. 1-0 Chicago Fire.
Another look at that beautifully flighted ball. Steve Clark did everything he could do to try to prevent that from going in, but Ianni finds the back of the goal in the 34th minute. Last week it was Grant Ward opening up his account with the Chicago Fire. This week it's the former Sounder man, Patrick Ianni. It's the act of Ianni feeling the confidence, surging forward from the back.
Dan, I was just about to say before Harry Shipp hit that free kick, it was the perfect position for a bit of pace and just to whip that ball in on the edge of the 6. And that's exactly what he did. Excellent delivery.
The breeze at the Crew's back here in the opening half. Jeff Laurentowicz, Zamarriqua. Too many yellow shirts around. Jimenez. Cool little ball. Dished in there by Jimenez. Protected by Ianni in the box. Tony Ciani. Go from Ianni to Ciani. Kevon George. Zenor. Returning to the cul-de-sac, and it's Ciani. Pause right in front of him. Ciani turns it over. Rough first touch by Greg Cochran, but hustle and speed making up for that initial flub. Nicely done. Nice save by Matt Watson. The calm one, Jeff Laurentowicz. Little chip over the top intended for Shipp. Superb idea, but Clark is able to grab it first. As this season progresses, Harry Shipp started off as part of the attack. He's becoming a big piece of it. Now, though, it's led by Grant Ward. Options of Zamarriqua and McGee. Ward by his lonesome. Back post, Mike McGee. Just couldn't find it. But again, an impressive buildup started by Grant Ward.
Ruthless from Grant Ward. Look at the pace and the direction straight at the goal. And look how close Mike McGee was at that back post.
Of course, the danger of an own goal, too, with that beautiful cross from Ward. Shipp trying to do it this time from the corner. Curled in, backheeled by Samari, just over the bar.
Excellent effort from Baki Samari. When you go out and watch the Chicago Fire in training, he is someone who stays behind, loves to try and get on the end of those crosses.
Ben Spees keeps it on the deck for Jimenez. There's the pace of Baki Samari to get back. Samari could have 2 goals tonight for the Chicago Fire. He had the chance off the header earlier, too. quick corner for the Crew. Off the boot of Ben Spies. Jimenez across. Was looking for Bernardo Honor.
I tell you what, Dan, Patrick Ianni, not a great goal scorer, but a scorer of great goals. What a wonderful delivery from Harry Shipp. The last time Patrick Ianni scored a goal was for the Seattle Sounders back in 2012 against Sporting Kansas City, and that was an absolute belter, winning MLS Goal of the Year. An acrobatic effort, something Quincy Amarikwa, I'm sure, would admire.
Not a great goal scorer, but a goal scorer of great goals. I like it. Ben Spies out of the range of Miram, but a free kick here coming up for Columbus.
Referee had all eyes on that play, and I think it was a correct decision. You could see the push in the back. Even though it was away from the ball, it's still a foul. It's a very dangerous area now. You'd have to think that Bernardo Honor will fancy his chances from here. Federico Higuain not in the side. Justin Miram looks confident too.
Honor on the right, Miram on the left. Miram's going to take the crack and well off frame.
Yeah, Justin Miram will be disappointed with that one. 22 or so yards out. Slightly to the left-hand side for a right-footed kicker. Perfect angle. Bit of a breeze on his back as well.
The field at Toyota Park looks better than last week against the Pittsburgh Riverhounds. It's been the wettest June in the Chicagoland area in 21 years. The same bitter cold winter that the folks in Columbus experienced as Ben Spies and Jimenez Chani put under pressure by Lorenowitz. It allows Harry Shipp to jab it loose. Quincy Amarikwa has the option out wide. Just pass, not to Grant Ward's liking.
As we approach halftime, I know that Frank Yallop and the Chicago Fire coaches will be very pleased so far with this performance here at Toyota Park. The dominant side, there's no question about that. The question mark is, can Chicago Fire go on and score that second goal and maybe show that ruthless streak that hasn't been there so far this year? We saw it for 15 minutes in New York when the Chicago Fire scored 3 goals in 15 minutes. Big question mark as the Fire has not won a game so far by more than 1 goal this season.
Be the perfect way to set the table in terms of confidence and mentality. We mentioned next MLS home match for the Chicago Fire a week from this Wednesday, hosting the rejuvenated Toronto FC side. Ward showing his athletic ability on the ball. It's been a pretty quiet first half for Mike McGee, recently nominated for an ESPY for the best MLS player, along with Cahill, DeVio, and some guy from Ireland. Of course, no disrespect to Los Angeles Galaxy man Robbie Keane. Here's Matt Watson. Nicely paced to Grant Ward, clipped across the 6. Stick with us. During our break at half, we'll take a little break, but we'll send you to some videos celebrating the history of the U.S. Open Cup. And prior to second half kick, we'll look at some highlights of these first 45 minutes.
Don Garber was on ESPN recently talking Major League Soccer and how
Ameriqua thinking about it. Gehrig closes it down.
Yeah, Mr. Garber talking all about how the young players in Major League Soccer, the best young players, need to try and stay in the league. The first clip they showed on that night on ESPN was Harry Shipp, his second goal against Seattle.
And Garber's point being sure, if you have the chance to play in the #1 league in the world and be in the starting 11, that might be the right option for you. But if you're going to ride the bench, why not come to MLS and be a key player and a key figure? That might be better for your long-term growth.
Well, there's been many question marks about the league, about Major League Soccer. All you have to do is look at how well the U.S. team has performed so far this season. You look at that second goal, Clint Dempsey's goal. Major League Soccer players involved in that play. Graham Zusi has been spectacular when playing. He's been very solid. Matt Beasler. I think Beasler has had a wonderful tournament so far.
The long-haired fella from RSL.
Mr. Beckerman.
First World Cup. As the whistle sounds, it's a clean first 45 minutes. The Chicago Fire strike in the 34th minute. An unlikely source of offense, Patrick Ianni, off the beautiful service from Harry Shipp. It's 1-0 advantage for the Chicago Fire. Kevin, your thoughts on that first half?
Exciting first half. Very open, attack-minded first half. Both teams really going after it and trying to win the game. Columbus playing that 5-3-2, but attacking. Whenever they get the ball, their players go from compressing the field when defending to getting wide straight away, and they've plenty of width, they've plenty of pace. I know the Crew can cause problems for the Fire in the second half, but it's been Chicago that's been the better side, the more dominant side, and the side that's really shown a lot more desire. They want the ball. Every single player wants it. Big second half performance needed for both sides. I mean, the next goal is obviously key. I know I'm stating the obvious there. Columbus score it, they're back in the game. Level playing field. Chicago get that second goal. A little bit of breathing space.
We'll get back with you in just a moment. First, we'll send you to some videos about the U.S. Open Cup. And on the other side, Kevin and I will be back before the second half kick to refresh you with highlights from the first 45 minutes.
Let's kill these mics.
USA is about to face off against Portugal. We're hoping that the U.S. is going to advance tonight. Since we opened 17 years ago, we've established ourselves as a soccer pub, one of the premier soccer pubs in Chicago. We open early for matches. We set the right tone.
USA! 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 USA!
You cannot beat the atmosphere in here on match day. Everything from EPL to the Chicago Fire games. We have buses, pub to pitch, going straight to the Fire games, every home game. It's just the place to be for soccer.
It's a miscue to Nani! Oh my goodness me! The USA press the self-destruct button now. Jones. Oh, yes! Jermaine Jones! What a cracker from him! Distribution. Jones to Egan. Only Dempsey to aim at. Really nearly got to him. He has got to Bradley. And then Susie and Dempsey is the answer. He is. It's 2-1. On the brink of elimination. Can they do something here? It's Cristiano Ronaldo. Oh, it's a great cross, and it is an equaliser from Verena. USA denied right at the death.
You know, it was a really tough result, but definitely a great experience today at Fido. I'll definitely be back for the Germany game on Thursday.
CTA, welcome to Ameriqua. Want to score Chicago Fire swag? Submit your best hashtag shoot and score goal celebration at one of the Chicago Fire branded bus shelters in the city via Twitter and Instagram. The best entries will win Fire tickets, merchandise, or a Quincy Ameriqua signed jersey.
This time he'll get it from 12 yards out, and he scores! But Rosny's restart. The header Razov, Klopas scores! Frankie Klopas becomes the hometown hero, and the Fire does the double! His face, here's a chance. Onside, Razov! Beasley's got a break on the left. Beasley! Oh! Tyrone Marshall put it in his own net. Chicago Fire are the 2000 Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup champions. The midfield.
Welcome back to our U.S. Open Cup coverage between the Chicago Fire and the Columbus Crew. Next to Kevin Egan, I'm Dan Kelly. Almost ready for second half kick. First things first, let's go to some video of that opening half. Dangerous servers from the corners and free kicks in the first 45 minutes, a theme from the Chicago Fire, Kevin.
Yeah, certainly from the right-hand side, Harrison Shipp well able to deliver a good ball, as we saw for the goal, which we're about to see again. Grant Ward on this occasion getting close to the byline, whipping in a great ball, which Baki Sumari wasn't too far away. I felt that Harry Shipp should have given it right there. Jeff Laurentowicz had carved out the opening for a pass. Columbus looked dangerous when they can use that pace in behind. I thought that might have been, looked like a good tackle, but it looked also like Matt Watson had put the arm on the back of the Crew player. Quincy Amarikwa going for the spectacular. Another delivery. There we see it again. Amarikwa fancied his chances. The reality of it is he might have been better served putting his head on the ball. Mike McGee, a real pester inside the box. And then, of course, the goal. What a delivery from Harry Shipp. Outstanding cross and the outstretched left leg of Patrick Ianni. His first goal since his world-class strike against Sporting Kansas City in 2012 that won Patrick Ianni MLS Goal of the Year. Great ball from Laurentowicz over the top. Harry Shipp roaming inside. Not a natural winger, so likes to cut inside and collect those passes. And then that man, Grant Ward. I thought Grant Ward, Dan, was spectacular all game. Well, all throughout the first half.
Baki Sumari, well done almost, sir.
Yeah, we see it one more time. Just the ability from Sumari. A little flick.
He had two good goal-scoring chances in that first half of play, so it's a 1-0 advantage for the Chicago Fire. What are your thoughts about this second half? First, from a Columbus perspective, they're on the road. They traveled in day of game, a tired, depleted side that has MLS action this Saturday. If you're Greg Berhalter, what are you telling your team right now in the changing room?
Well, I think Greg Berhalter won't be too disappointed. It's been a side that's been thrown together due to World Cup absences, suspensions, injuries. Many reasons. Columbus down to a squad of just 15 tonight, playing a 5-3-2, a 5 at the back system that they're not used to playing. So I think the Columbus Crew has played quite well in the first half. Justin Miram needs more support up top. That's a key factor for me. Oftentimes he's looked frustrated and isolated up front. Can't seem to find the right pass to let Miram stretch his legs and get in behind Ianni and Sumari. That was a feature of the game at Crew Stadium a few weeks ago. Columbus found it all too easy just to get in behind the Fire defence. It hasn't happened tonight. And I put that, a large part of that down to the fact that Logan Pause and Jeff Laurentowicz, when the Crew pick up the ball, they've offered plenty of support on the right and left-hand side between the channels, splitting the left fullback and the right fullback in their centre halves and just closing out those gaps. For the Chicago Fire, it's more of the same. Plenty of tenacity, plenty of desire, and that second goal is coming.
Something you spoke about that we've been waiting for the Fire this year, for them to be ruthless, to have a clean sheet, to have a perfect game. This would help the momentum and get on a roll here as they begin MLS play next Wednesday. A battle for the Dewar Cup tonight. The Crew and the Chicago Fire. Columbus sub Arrieta enters for Justin Miram at halftime.
I'm not surprised by that. Justin Miram, for me, he sulked too often in the first half. Too many times he wasn't happy when the ball didn't go exactly to feet. He didn't want to have to chase it. If I'm a coach looking at that and you've got somebody like Jairo Arrieta on the bench who's an absolutely quality player, I'd bring him in, give him a shot. After all, it was Arrieta who scored that second goal at Crew Stadium earlier in the season. Well able to get in behind. He's got pace, excellent trickery, technically a very good player.
Final to report another U.S. Open Cup action. New England holds on for the narrow 2-1 victory over the Rochester Rhinos. Arrieta, number 19 for Columbus. Couple clutch stops from Steve Clark, or the score line could be more generous in the Fire's favor Honora rising over the head of Logan Paws. Sparson begins the attack, getting some space. Columbus, dangerous Arrieta. Oh, and he shanks it.
Wow. There's that in behind. We talked about it. Could Columbus get in behind the Fire defense? Within a minute, the Crew get in behind, and Arrieta from just yards away. Unbelievable miss. You'd have to think that with the weather, there may have been a bump where the ball took a little bounce. I don't see it from that angle. That's just an awful miss. Surprising miss from Arrieta just on the field. And I'm sure he couldn't believe it that about 30 or 40 seconds.
Well, that should be a warning shot over the bow of the Chicago Fire. Arrieta now in the mix. And Columbus comes out here rejuvenated to begin this second half.
So straight away, Dan, within the first 2 minutes, you can notice Columbus look like they've gone. When attacking, Jimenez is going to try and get a lot more forward on that right-hand side, and Spies is going to be the man to play up top alongside Jairo Arrieta.
It was Spies and Arrieta last time. Here's Spies. Unable to get to it. The size of Baki Samari, the little shield, but not enough muster there to get it to Cochran, and it causes the brief, nervy moments there. Goal kick for Sean Johnson in the Fire here in the 48th minute. It's a good chance for a lot of these Columbus players to show their coach their worth without so many valuable players. Ray's going to be available along with Daniel Palladini, Will Trapp, perhaps Higuain also for Columbus's next match Saturday. Brush forward by Sweat. Arrieta into the penalty area. And there it's Honor blasting it wide, but again the chances keep coming from the Crew.
An injection of enthusiasm, an injection of pace since the restart. Columbus looking a much better side already early on. The words of Mr. Berhalter at the break are paying dividends.
The cheerleader in the middle of the pitch, Tony Chani, saying, keep going, keep going. Here's Amarikwa. Kevon George was just forced by the pressure from Quincy Amarikwa. It's Tyson Wall rising up. This is Greg Cochran. In pursuit is Chani. This is Jeff Lorenowitz drawing the foul. See what Matt Watson can do. Little separation between he and Grant Ward. Watson showing some nice ability off the dribble. Taken down the perimeter of the penalty area, right back up. Mike McGee floats it over the bar. First look at goal here in the second half from the Chicago Fire. So it was Matt Watson creating. Taken down, gets right back up and finds McGee.
And Watson is someone, every time he's come in at right back, he's impressed. Looking across that whole back line and really throughout the whole Chicago Fire team, players are getting back to fitness. Certainly the back line. You have players like Lavelle Palmer, Gonzalo Segares, John Kennedy Hurtado, chomping at the bit. They'll be ready to try and get back in this starting 11 for the Fire. And all four players starting for the know that those places are up for grabs. There's no certainties out there.
fair to say this is one of Matt Watson's better matches with the Fire?
I honestly think he's performed admirably every time he's played at right back. He's experienced. He gets a job done, but also going forward, he's quite effective. Doesn't have the pace, and I don't think he has the delivery of the ball that Lavelle Palmer has. I think Palmer's a better option at right back, but certainly when Matt Watson has stepped in, he's been very good.
Chad Barson, the work for the Crew.
Yeah, you know, Dan, and speaking of players to come back, when you look through these Columbus players that have yet to come back into this team, such a depleted squad tonight as we've mentioned, so many quality players, and I just think Alvaro Rey is a great pickup for Columbus. At just 24 years of age, the Spaniard really impressed me certainly when Chicago played against Toronto last season. I thought he was the best player on the pitch. If you remember, he rattled the underside of the bar in that game. Technically a very good player.
Poor clearance by the keeper. Ship takes it to Amarikwa, back to Harry Ship. And Ship taken out from under his boots, and it's Chani on the counter for the Crew.
Ship just bullied off the ball by Tony Chani. Big physical presence, well played Chani.
This is Tyson Wall. Ben Sweat, Honor, challenged by Iani. Directed out by Greg Cochran. Wall, though, behind it. Plenty of time to dish it into the penalty area. Offside flag coming up on Arrieta here in the 53rd minute. Kevon George. Numbers forming. The right side for Chani. There's Pause down on the grass. Going Columbus's way, bodies still down.
I mean, Logan Pause has won that ball. Out and out won the ball. The question is, was Logan Pause's legs raised after he won the ball? He gets a yellow card for that play. Nobody inside Toyota Park can understand that one. But watch, after he wins the ball, he raises that left leg. And that's what the referee has called it for. Just watch this one more time. After he wins the ball, the left leg goes up.
First card shown this match. And it's an unlikely source of yellow. The 12-year veteran Logan Pause. Spees off the free kick. Brilliant finish. Off the bike, Arrieta, and Columbus has leveled it.
A contentious goal. Contentious decision by the referee leads to a free kick. Good delivery. We praised Matt Watson earlier. He has to get rid of this ball. He has to do a much better job defensively. Just watch how he allows the ball to go across, and then inside the defenders need to deal with it. Greg Cochran needs to get his head on that ball. A collection of errors from the Fire, and the Columbus crew wanted that goal more. The play was not given up on, and in the end it's Arrieta who acrobatically equalizes in front of Section 8.
On that nice little delicate cross from Ben Sweat. Classy finish from Jairo Arrieta. We've got ourselves a soccer match.
Well, curse of the commentator. Praising Matt Watson. You know, as a right back in that situation, he's at fault.
He can't hear you, Kevin. Don't worry. There's no curse of the commentator. It's been kind of quiet for Quincy. Had that chance at the bike. Maybe it's Quincy time here. The left foot. Off the side netting, that back post.
It's the first time all night we've really had a chance to see Mike McGee and Quincy combine up top. Good understanding to create that opportunity.
Again, the Crew come attacking in waves. Left foot takes a deflection. Handled by Sean Johnson.
But all of a sudden, Columbus looking a much more dangerous team with two up top. All by his lonesome, Justin Miram really didn't cause any problems for the Fire back four in the first half. In this second, it's Arrieta and Spies causing all sorts of difficulty.
Ben Spies with the most recent lash. Harry Shipp brings it down. Draping him there is Tony Chani. And that's going to be the challenge, and interesting to watch as Harry Shipp matures, how he deals with much bigger players in Major League Soccer. Gary gets a talking to.
Well, it was a good position for Harry Shipp in the first half. What about this one now? The in-swinger on top of Steve Clark in goal for Columbus.
Grant Ward also gathers behind the ball. He's the place setter for Shipp. Directed away by Chani. Watson, the feint, keeps it with him. Spaki Samari. Dangerous little chip. Spillage from Clark. Some contact from Amarikwa in the penalty area, and it will come out.
That's a I mean, referees nowadays get to call this decision far too easy. Quincy Amarikwa went for that ball. I don't see any contact. Do you then? In that situation, I just think it's a case of a striker going for a ball. And 9 times out of 10, the decision goes straight to the goalkeeper.
Part of the problem is Quincy Amarikwa, that big physical presence. He's difficult not to notice. So you got a little chunk there of Clark. We play on now in the 59th minute. Again, testing things over the top a little too much. Offside flag comes up on Arrieta.
Substitution time for the Chicago Fire, and it's Bakari Sumari who jogs rather gingerly across to the bench. John Kennedy Hurtado. The man that was sent off against the Seattle Sounders.
Well, Jairo Arrieta has changed this match. Quincy Amarikwa trying to do the same. Left-footed strike. Not a bad idea.
Not a bad idea at all. You could see exactly what he was trying to do.
Next to Kevin Egan, I'm Dan Kelly. Good to have you with us. Reminder to Fire fans, join us next Wednesday, July 2nd, home match. Fireworks celebration post-match. TFC comes for a visit to Toyota Park. Tony Chani and the Columbus Crew looking for their first lead of the night. Delicate little poke out by Jeff Lorenowitz. They ready for the corner here from the Crew. Don't forget to join my partner. Tune into Fire Weekly. Kevin Egan, Jeff Crandall, Fred Hubner, ESPN 1000 every Saturday morning, 7 to 8 a.m. Talk the World Cup and MLS. Off the corner, Jeff Lorenowitz sprouts up. The fresh legs of John Kennedy Hurtado. Didn't see the pressure coming from Tyson Wall. forcing the turnover for Columbus, and a little over anxious once again.
Oh, that's criminal. Absolutely criminal from Ben Spies. He had all day to make sure he was onside. If he stayed on, he was in acres of space. Maybe even clean through on goal with an option of playing it across to Arrieta. He has to do a better job of making sure he's onside.
It's been a while for John Kennedy Hurtado. Tries to acclimate himself to game speed. And Quincy sees the flag come up on the other side.
It's amazing, you know, what a simple tactical change can do in a match. All of a sudden, two up top, players looking to get in behind. Both Arrieta and Spies playing off the shoulder of the last defender. And it's amazing what that can do to a game compared to Justin Miram looking to get it to feet in the first half. It was easy to defend against. Right now, Columbus asking so many questions of the Fire defense.
Isn't a part of the recipe, Kevin, that Columbus had success with in that match at Crew Stadium earlier in the season? So here's Grant Ward, shifty across the face of goal. Dangerous teasing ball, but taken care of by the Crew back line.
He looks dangerous every time he gets on the ball, Grant Ward. That was a class bit of trickery to evade the challenges. And you like to see that high pressure. Good stuff again from Mike McGee. Just trying to be that leader out there, pushing his players forward, encouraging the high pressure, forcing the mistake in the end from Steve Clark.
Watson loses it, reclaimed by Pause. Second bite at the pierogi here for Watson. McGee, Amarikwa, the pass behind him. As Quincy tries to win it back. And it's Quincy time in that far corner. On for Ship. Harry Ship tries to make the turn, now the low drive. Steve Clark able to rake it in. Lorenowitz comes in a little hard. He's whistled.
So we look at that chance one more time. Outstanding tenacity. And I use that word an awful lot to describe Quincy Amarikwa. Just offers it 110% all the time. Great effort to get by the defender. Picked out the pass to Harry Ship. And it was a great attempt.
It was a little quiet start of the second half for Quincy Amarikwa, but seeing this energetic start for the Crew, it was nice for Amarikwa to respond.
Interesting that Columbus, very reluctant to go long, whether it be from a free or a goal kick. Very reluctant to just kick it long. Berhalter approach, try and get it to feet as soon as possible and play the ball up the pitch. Mike McGee has copped onto that. He's encouraging Quincy Amarikwa and Grant Ward every time Steve Clark gets on the ball.
Sean Johnson leaves his line. And almost a little bit of spillage, but the Georgian native clenches it and begins the distribution. Quincy Amarikwa steps into a channel. Ball intended for Kevon George, won back by the Crew. It's Quincy busted the halfway point. It's Gehrig, the quick restart. It's Ben Sweat. Couldn't hold it. The fouls continue. A reminder for the latest Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup results and information, visit ussoccer.com. Harry Shipp looking to get away from the coverage of Chani. It's McGee trying to combine with Grant Ward, but Chani strides away. Great anticipation by Patrick Ianni.
Yeah, he just telegraphed that pass, but you just saw the power and the pace. Real powerhouse, Tony Chani in the center midfield, alongside George as well. A very physical midfield for Columbus. A feature of the first half, Grant Ward on the right-hand side, taking on the defender nice and early and getting to the byline, delivering crosses. It hasn't happened really so far in the second half. On many occasions, Matt Watson's getting forward, trying to get the ball to Grant Ward, and he's tucking inside. Ward has gone across to the left-hand side now.
And Columbus has had the ball here the majority of the second half.
Ward comes back across now to that right-hand side. And I'd love to see him in those 1v1 situations a little bit more. That's where he thrives.
If you're just joining us, Patrick Ianni scored first for Chicago in the 34th minute, but the match has been changed by the insertion of Jairo Arrieta. Here to begin the second half, he strikes in the 55th. We're all level in this fifth round match of the 101st Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup. Shipp makes himself an option to Matt Watson. Cochran lets McGee take it. Not a lot of room for Harry Shipp here in the second half. Jeff Lorenowitz. Served too far in front for Matt Watson's liking. Zanor navigates himself and the ball out of trouble for Columbus. Gehrig, Chani, Arrieta looking to slither loose. Arrieta on the run, blasting it, and Johnson parries it aside.
Wonderful ball to split the defense. Jairo Arrieta, so effective in this role. And it was Greg Cochran with enough pressure, the left fullback getting across to stifle out the danger, but a good stop from Johnson too.
Fire try to stifle out the corner now here from Columbus. Ianni. Spies will do it once again. It's a Wednesday night match that has had a lot of excitement. Pumped in by Spies again. Directed away by Hurtado. But Grant Ward can't keep possession. Chad Barson. Breezing by Honor. High boot there from Ben Spies. They play on. Spies in the penalty area. Honor drives it by Sean Johnson. Columbus has their first lead of the night. Under heavy fire, just too much pressure. You could see it coming.
And the initial ball had to be won. Matt Watson comes across. That's not a goal that Frank Yallop, CJ Brown, Brian Bliss, the defensive coaches in the Chicago Fire setup will want to watch again. The beautiful left foot of Bernardo Honor doesn't need a second asking. A simple finish for someone of his caliber, as we're about to see 3 changes for Columbus. Just 2 changes, excuse me.
Chani's been outstanding tonight for the Crew. providing energy when they didn't have much early moments of the match.
And they've made the only real changes now that they can possibly make. Just 15 men, part of their squad tonight. We saw the introduction of Jairo Arrieta. Look at this for quality from the bench from Columbus. And now we see the insertion of Will Trapp and also Michael Parkhurst.
Green card yesterday helps open up an international spot. Alex enters the match for the Fire. It's Logan Pause. Leaves the match for his entry. But the 70th minute strike from Bernardo Honor has given Columbus their first lead of the night.
The issue for the Fire now and Frank Yallop is if they do try and sacrifice a defender and try and drive on and get that equalizer, you're up against a side that's very capable of counter-attacking, very fast.
Ziani gets a piece of that pass. And Columbus playing a bit of a keep-away game here in the 73rd minute. Quietly between the sticks, Steve Clark made some stellar stops when his team wasn't playing that well in front of him. It's Ben Spees. Sprays it out wide. Brushed into the penalty area. Taking the shot there, a little bit off balance, was Will Trapp, easily gathered in by Johnson. This is where you look for some magic from Quincy Amarikwa. It's Trapp finding Wall.
The issue right now is this is all too easy. In the center midfield, it's all too easy. Combination passes, splitting the defense, too simple.
Ben Sweat, by his lonesome, Sean Johnson comes out to make himself big and keep the Fire in this match.
Well, you said it, Dan. Sean Johnson, big time for his team. Makes himself huge, gets down to make the stop to keep one goal in this game.
See, the breeze has died down here late for the most part. Ben Spees, back post, second ball. Out of trouble by Cochran, but not completely out of trouble. Will Trapp off of Amarikwa. Harry Shipp was trying to cobble it along the near touch line. Section 8 trying to reinvigorate their Chicago Fire. It's Grant Ward poking it loose. Bombed away by Johnson, and no red shirts in the vicinity. Be interesting to hear Frank Yallop, his always honest post-game quotes, that this scoreline remains the same, because such a difference in this team from the second half, from the first half. Can't just all be explained from the insertion of Jairo Arrieta.
This game has been frantic over the past few minutes, absolutely frantic. And maybe a little stoppage like this, just take a breath.
A look of venom there from Mike McGee.
Mike McGee looks like he might come out of this game. Juan Luis Anongano, the player warming up.
Trying to show a cleat mark. Well, the nation has been riveted by World Cup action. The scoreline not cooperating with the Chicago Fire's way, but this has been an entertaining match. It's now some size. Comes in Juan Luis Anongano, replacing Mike McGee here in the 77th minute. Just look out of sync.
Big test now, huge test. Probably 15, 16 minutes to play realistically. Just one goal in it. Got to try and force Columbus to sit a little bit deeper. Juan Luis Anongano, Quincy Amarikwa play a high line. Do exactly what Columbus are doing to the Fire.
Kevon George has been issued a yellow card caution. Time to show some bravery and take the initiative, like that step up from Yanni. Harry Shipp. The dancing feet of Quincy Amarikwa.
Well, who's been the player to take on responsibility over the past few games? Harrison Shipp. McGee off the pitch now. Little bit of creativity gone. It's going to be on Harry Shipp's shoulders to try and create something and get the Chicago Fire back into this match.
Barson puts it in the 5th row under a little duress. The right play with his team leading by 1 here in the 79th minute. Barson wins it from Greg Cochran. Trying to sneak in is Quincy Amarikwa. Tyson Wall back for the Crew. A reminder, you can keep up with all Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup updates on Twitter at US Soccer. Honor has given Columbus the 2-1 lead in the 70th minute. In a second half, largely controlled by the visitors. Kevin, do the Fire look tired here in the second half to you?
My issue is not the fact they look tired. It's just when the Fire players get the ball, right? Matt Watson now. Here's where you want to see runs off the ball. You want to see some imagination. Players offering themselves, wanting the ball in better positions. It's a little bit too static right now. Quincy Amarikwa and Juan Luis Anongano in particular need to make those runs happen. Whether it's one coming to feet, the other trying to get in behind, whatever it is, they have to look active.
Quincy sneaking ahead. Offside here in the 81st minute. Will Trapp making the overlap. Iani's after it also.
What I just talked about, you know, runs off the ball. One of the best players to watch in the league is Federico Higuain at that. When he gives the ball, he's gone again. But Will Trapp is clearly learning from him. As soon as he's come onto the pitch, just watch Will Trapp. Gets the ball, gives it, he's gone. He doesn't stop and think about it, he's gone again.
He gives his mates options in a congested midfield when you have to make quick decisions. Little stumble from Grant Ward now, finding Alex. Way off target. Juan Luis Anangano was the nearest. So now the Chicago Fire fighting for their U.S. Open Cup lives. Down 2-1. About the final 10 minutes. Won by Jeff Lorenowitz.
And remember, Columbus Crew has never beaten the Chicago Fire in U.S. Open Cup play. On 4 occasions, it's been all Chicago Fire. This could be an historic night for the Crew.
They were turfed from the Cup last year by the Fire. Looking for a little payback. Here's Grant Ward. Harry Shipp back for Ward. Too many yellow shirts in front of him, trying to win it back. Does so, bodies down. The lane is open for Watson. Matt Watson, and Nongano! Big goal late, we are tied.
It was a decision Frank Yallop was forced to make. Out went McGee. In came Anongano. And look who stepped up big time. Juan Luis with the finish. The game needed a spark. Certainly for the Fire it did. Matt Watson found plenty of room because of the collision. He found the room on the right-hand side. It was a calculated pass. It was a weighted pass. And it found the boot of Anongano, who made no mistake.
It's got to feel good for Juan Luis Anongano. The season has not gone according to script for Juan Luis. But he finds pay dirt when his team needs it most. That's the guy we've been talking about frequently tonight. Saw bodies down. Knew the lane was going to be open. Matt Watson starts at one. Luis Anongano finishes it. It's Frank Yallop of the Chicago Fire coaching staff, a little talking to. Now keep it moving forward. If any team should be tired, it's Columbus. Sneaking in again. Off the goal post. So dangerous again. You go to sleep for a moment. And Will Trapp and the Crew almost make him pay.
From center midfield, young Will Trapp, we talked about his movement off the ball. Fantastic run, but that's way too porous from the Chicago Fire. Too easy to get in behind the post. Performing miracles for the Fire.
You think about extra time, but watching this match, the run and gun style, perhaps we've not got another one left in this game in regular time.
Yeah, you don't want to start thinking about extra time too early. Maybe the U.S. thinking about the next round of the World Cup. Going ahead to the round of 16, a little bit too early against Portugal. it can always come back to bite you.
It almost bit the fire as they relaxed just a tad after Juan Luis Anangado levels things at 2. Will Trapp belts it off the post. We remain tied. The energetic Chicago Fire supporters continue the sweet chorus late, hoping for a game winner. Hurtado whistled. Arrieta wants it. Granted his wish. Cooley pace pass for Barson. He's cut down. Earns the corner.
Greg Cochran, there was no doubt he was caught out there positionally, but he showed wonderful pace to get back and get that tackle in.
Spees. Quincy Amarikwa rising up. Little flub by Gehrig in the back. Tense times here late. Despite Hurtado's protest, it will stay with Columbus. Overruled. Juan Luis, the little chip, now the chase. Gehrig is in pursuit, a nice recovery. Matt Watson hoists it into the penalty area. Away by Trapp. Arrieta, tremendous job to get onto that ball. Surging forward is Ben Spees. Watched by Iani. Spees for a stroll into the penalty area. Cochran the block, corner coming for Columbus.
Wonderful dynamic play though from the Columbus crew. You have to admire the technical ability there of Jairo Arrieta to first of all win the ball and then have the vision to pick out Spees, the diagonal run.
Spees to the back post. Nudged away by Hurtado, now Cochran. Grant Ward just got it tangled up in his boots as he was looking to go for a gallop forward. Will Trapp settles things down. Honor. Arrieta. And finally his touch fails him. Quincy and the Chicago Fire trying to exploit Columbus on the counter. As Quincy can't make the turn. It was the defending for Columbus.
Cup football, Danny Boy, we're here in 3 minutes. That's all that's left here at Toyota Park. Both sides level.
Or maybe more.
Or maybe more.
It's been a surprising night of soccer. Honor with Grant Ward briefly water skiing behind him. Will Trapp trying to clip it over the top. Iani and Hurtado combining in the middle for the Chicago Fire. Plenty of room for Will Trapp. You don't want to give him too much room as looking to find Honor.
And the sarcastic applause goes up from the Chicago Fire faithful here at Toyota Park. They obviously felt that many Columbus plays were offside that weren't given.
A few chuckles from the supporters. AR drops his flag. They play on. Grant Ward, Harry Ship, dangerous ball. Alex tries to settle, unable to. Honor and numbers forming for Columbus here in the dying minutes. It's extra time looming. Honor looking shocked, wanting the whistle to sound. They play on. Jeff Lorenowitz tangled up in some yellow shirts. Slithers loose. Here's Grant Ward. A little feint by Ward. Looking for the entry. Left foots it in. Cochran way underneath it.
Oh, he saw his name in lights. He saw his name in lights. So close to the end of this match. The ball sat up beautifully for Greg Cochran, who wanted that winner from distance.
Full time. Complete here in Bridgeview, Illinois. It's been a roller coaster match here in the 5th round of the U.S. Open Cup. Take a 5-minute break, followed by 2 15-minute extra time periods. And it's been an exciting night so far, Kevin. We look for a brilliant finish.
Yeah, it's been a pulsating encounter at Toyota Park. Chicago Fire really didn't look like they were going to want to get that equalizer. It was Columbus that impressed in the second half. But there was a collision on the right-hand side. Matt Watson found himself in plenty of room, and then Juan Luis Anongano did the rest. After that, two teams were going at it. Both sides looked like they could have gone on and got the winner. Just an entertaining game of soccer. 90 minutes flew by. We're getting ready for a bit more. 2 15 minutes here at Toyota Park. Cup football.
It's been brilliant Cup football. We'll step aside for a few minutes. We'll be back as everybody takes a drink and we get ready for extra time. U.S. Open Cup 5th round. Both teams fighting for the right to play in the quarterfinals against the Atlanta Silverbacks. Chicago Fire. Both teams playing for the right to advance to the quarterfinals and play the Atlanta Silverbacks. And here we go. Saw both teams going for it late. Would anticipate we'll see more of the same in extra time.
Very kind of the Chicago Fire, really. Fans were only treated to about 48 minutes of soccer last week, so the players kindly taking to a bit of extra today. No, on a serious note, a good game of football. Very open match. Legs will be tested now in extra time.
Harry Shipp. Quincy Amarikwa on the dribble. Watched by Will Trapp. It's Greg Cochran looking for space. Anangano. Shipp, Amarikwa! Good night, Columbus! If they can keep it going. Juan Luis Anangano raising up once again. Harrison Shipp, right place, right time.
It was Anangano with the initial header. It looked like he was about to power home a header. Instead, it went all the way across the Shipp. He had the intelligence to square it to Amarikwa. And Quincy time did the rest. 3-2 Chicago.
Goal Chicago Fire by number 24, Quincy Amarikwa. In the 92nd minute play, assisted by number 19, Harry Shipp.
So Harry Shipp in the midst of it once again. Alex wanting more. It's Greg Cochran. Prevents Ben Spees from getting to that. Teams will switch sides after the first 15 minutes. Honor. Nice recovery by Matt Watson. Draws the contact as Barson was swooping in.
Chicago started the first half a much better side. It was Columbus that came out the much better side in the second half. And now it's the Fire at the beginning of extra time. Much brighter start. Obviously getting the goal, but just look like they have that desire to get on the ball, win it back quicker, and drive forward.
Iani.
Studs were raised from Patrick Iani in that challenge. Good decision from the referee, just brought it back when advantage wasn't played.
There's Barson. The man you like to call old Twinkle Toes is on him, Harry Shipp. Michael Parkhurst brings it back into play. There's Gehrig. The other number 16, Cochran, anticipates. Turns it upfield to Anangano. Well done to Alex. Option in Grant Ward. As Ward cuts to the middle, but that's where the congestion was. The young Englishman chips it in, Anangano. Well off the target.
Here's a bit of history for you, Dan, from Jeff Crandall just giving this to me here. Last extra time goal for the Fire. Andy Herron, penalty kick in a 3-2 US Open Cup qualifying win versus the Crew on June 10th, 2008. One of the 4 games, of course, that Chicago got the better of the Crew in US Open Cup play.
Fire trying to protect the near perfect record in US Open Cup matches in the state of Illinois, 22-1-1. Their pursuit of the Dewar Trophy. It's always a tournament of upsets. And that theme has continued in this US Open Cup. But tonight it's 2 MLS teams tangling. Quincy Amarikwa surprising Parkhurst. Red comes out. A walk-off for Michael Parkhurst. Gets a little frustrated with Quincy Amarikwa, and he's bid good night.
Get a chance to see that one more time. That's a shocking challenge. So late. A player of Michael Parkhurst's experience needs to know better. At a key point in a big-time match for his team, he's come through the back of Quincy Amarikwa. The referee had no real decision to make. It was
so the 11-10 advantage for the Fire. Quincy Amarikwa. There's visions of Juan Luis Anangano. Be a corner for Chicago. Extra time, Amarikwa has struck for the Fire to give them the 3-2 advantage. Michael Parkhurst shown red. Looking to be ruthless here in extra time, Harry Shipp. Nice corner, Quincy Amarikwa prevented. Alex can't get the shot through. They're gonna go for the spot. Another big chance for the Chicago Fire to see their advantage swell.
He's actually given a free kick by the looks of things. The referee has stayed on the edge of the area. We'll need to see that again. And was this a handball inside the area? Clearly inside the area. Look at where Ben Spies was when the ball hit his arm. Wonderful replay from our crew. As you can see, the ball clatters the arm of Ben Spies inside the area. If you're going to call it, you got to get that right.
Still trying to make him pay from a little further out. Harry Shipp can't get it through the wall. The parade to the corner for Harry Shipp continues. Keeps it on the grass. Jeff Lorenowitz couldn't gather it. Anangano keeping possession. That's where it's nice to have the size of Juan Luis Anangano. Dirty tricks by Quincy Amarikwa. Grant Ward, the chip. Free catch, Steve Clark, the keeper. Around 20 minutes left in this match. Red card to Michael Parkhurst, an 11-10 advantage for the Fire. Honor showing some spirit behind the ball for Columbus. Here's Will Trapp. Ben Spees, long blast. Easily quieted down by Sean Johnson.
Ben Spees has been very impressive tonight. Just carved out the opportunity with his pace. A crisp effort. A yard to the right or left of Sean Johnson. That's going to cause him all sorts of problems.
That had some pace behind it. Section 8's not going to go anywhere. Sinangano is off as they want to see their Chicago Fire advance in a couple of weeks to the quarterfinals and make a trip to Georgia, play the Atlanta Silverbacks. Nice anticipation by the experienced midfielder Jeff Lorenowitz, Quincy Amarikwa, Juan Luis Sinangano. Little stumble, allows Wall to recover. Some cheeky body work by Wall and Sinangano. Finally out of the scrum, and it's on a Columbus boot. Bernardo Honor. Barson and Will Trapp maintain possession. Kevon George. Honor has room. Oh, and he gives Sean Johnson something to think about. Here's Will Trapp. And Columbus moving the ball pretty well, despite the disadvantage.
I'm shocked at Michael Parkhurst. There's a lack of discipline. Surprised at such a good player, experienced player.
Tyson Wall eyes his options. Just thinking Honor. Goal kick, Sean Johnson. Just over a minute left in this first segment of extra time. And watching the Crew move the ball pretty well, even with 10 men. Fire fans would like a little more insurance, especially the way this match is developed. Honor. Swarmed by red shirts. Wall will give it a try. As Arrieta was looking to peel off, well marked.
And Jeff Laurentowicz in the middle of the field screaming at his defenders, get out, get up the pitch. Let's stop inviting the pressure. We've got a man up against the Columbus Crew. Time to force the agenda ourselves.
And this is a Columbus Crew side that, remember, feels pretty comfortable playing a man down like they were against Indy 11. That they were able to terminate in their last match in extra time. Part one of Extra Time is done.
Extra time has been such a feature of this matchup between the Chicago Fire and the Columbus Crew in the US Open Cup games. 4 of the 5 games between the sides have gone to extra time. The one that didn't, last year's matchup here at Toyota Park, a 2-1 victory for the Fire. So both these sides used to going all the way. 120 minutes of soccer. But the tide has turned, Dan. A telling 15 minutes. Chicago Fire getting the early goal inside. Just a couple of minutes in extra time. Quincy Amarikwa with the strike. And then, of course, Michael Parkhurst dismissed for a rash, robust, and just such a foolish challenge. There was no need to. Quincy Amarikwa's back was to goal. There was no pressure on the defense. And like I said, just surprising to see a player of his caliber lose his discipline in that regard.
Have to take advantage of the situation if you're the Chicago Fire, Kevin. A well-played match, not a perfect match, but you're the fresher of the two teams. You don't have to worry about Saturday night in Major League Soccer. The Fire don't play till next Wednesday. Columbus traveled today. They have a depleted, short-handed side. You would have to think things favor the Chicago Fire, especially in this second part of extra time.
Absolutely, you just said it. I mean, so many factors in the Fire's favor, playing into Section 8 now in the second half of extra time. The Fire only has 2 Major League Soccer wins all season, though. The team has not gone on to win a game by more than 1 goal. Unfamiliar territory in many ways for this Fire team this season. Has all the talent, all the ability to go on and win this game. Close it out with that second goal in extra time.
And oh yeah, an 11-10 advantage also for the Chicago Fire. So away we go.
With the way Greg Berhalter set up this Columbus Crew side, the dismissal of Parkhurst, yes, of course it's a huge loss, but they've gone from playing that 5-3-2 to a 4-3-2. The fullbacks will still attack. The wingbacks, I should say, in that 5 system will still attack and get forward because they need that goal.
Grant Ward attacking and getting forward. Quincy Amarikwa. Oh, the miss there from Anangano as it changed directions on the way. The rookie Harry Shipp. Fire fans wishing for another. Watson, loads of space, uncorks one. Off a defender and to the awaiting palms of Steve Clark. See how much energy Columbus can muster here. Anangano, whistle there, taking down Kevon George. Looking to sneak in. Arrieta on the turn. Arrieta stumbles. Looking for the call, will not be granted his wish.
Arrieta just loves playing against the Chicago Fire. He finds those seams, the pockets of space. Crafty player, well able to get in behind. I was shocked that he didn't shoot first time. Felt the opportunity was there for Arrieta just to let rip and have a go at goal.
Ben Spees forced. Well done, Greg Cochran. Opens the door for Alex. Juan Luis Anangano, the feint. Spins it over for Harry Shipp. Shipp showing some confidence on the ball. Alex, first timed! Not once, but twice. Juan Luis Anangano, and that just might be enough. And Kevin, this whole play started by the great work from Greg Cochran. Little subtle play.
Subtle play is right, winning the ball back. But it's all about the super sub. All the way from Ecuador. Now here in Bridgeview, Illinois, Juan Luis Anangano with a brace. A powerful brace and a vital brace. Time will tell what this will do for the Chicago Fire and their season. This could be the match that they could go on and win their first game of the season by 2 goals. But you look for an impact from a guy like Anangano. The DP coming in for Major League Soccer's MVP. And Anangano has stepped up when asked with 2 crucial goals. Well played.
Side volley. 4-2. And Juan Luis Anangano, he's been supported by his manager and his teammates, saying the effort and the determination has been there. Just not the quality finishing, but maybe this is the night things start to turn for Juan Luis Anangano. Here's Grant Ward. Tyson Wall, the defending. Well done by Wall.
Now for Columbus. Just over 10 minutes to play. It's all or bust. Cup competition, they have to go for it. Commit players forward. As Columbus get the ball, you can nearly see Steve Clark just acting as a sweeper. Just making his way out of the goal if need be. He's there for his defenders to give the ball back to him, but Columbus have to go for it. And for Chicago, you just don't want to. Plenty of time in this game. You do not want to encourage Columbus to attack and allow them drive players forward.
It looked like Columbus was going to advance with that 2-1 lead late. Then Juan Luis Anangano started the uprising in the 83rd minute with the equalizer to send this match to extra time. And now perhaps he's added the goal to ice it. So to imagine Coach Yallop's going to have some positive words for the play of Greg Cochran. He's been thrust into a starting role at times this season, seen a lot more heavy minutes than he anticipated. Anangano. Flag stays down. Juan Luis Anangano. Maybe the hat trick was asking a little too much. It helps earn the corner here late, and more time goes away. Slow trot by Shipp.
He's stretching his legs though, Juan Luis, starting to look like a confident player.
An 11-10 advantage for the Fire. Michael Parkhurst shown red. Plenty of room to maneuver. Well done by Quincy Amarikwa to prevent Honor from intercepting. Quincy off the dribble, takes it wide on trap. Quincy can do this all day, and he can draw that.
The last minute or so has just been Chicago Fire winding down the clock. Plenty of experience on the pitch now. You can see the likes of Jeff Laurentowicz constantly talking to his teammates. Slow it down. 2 goals to the good. 8 minutes to play.
playing with composure. You've seen the Fire with chances here to force things, but making the right decisions and not giving Columbus that free possession and a chance to inch their way back into the game. Quincy frustrating defenders with the ball protection as Grant Ward sends a delicious cross. Finally comes down for Ship. Is Harry Ship. Once again will go to the corner.
And Frank Yallop will be absolutely thrilled. It's all Chicago. The ball is in the right area of the pitch for the Chicago Fire. Just such a frustrating period of extra time for Greg Berhalter and the Columbus Crew. Columbus dominated the second half here at Toyota Park. They really did. Deserved their lead. But it was the sub, the impact sub, Juan Luis Onangano, made the difference in the end. Came on, got the equalizer, created the space on that, by the way. That's something strikers oftentimes fail to do, is just find that little bit of space. It was up to Matt Watson then to pick out the pass, which he did, and the rest is history.
Off the quick restart, Columbus on the run. Senor feels the heat of Matt Watson behind him. The Crew trying to create late. Directed away by Jeff Lorenowitz. Ward is whistled there on the tackle of Ben Spees. Yellow card caution on Grant Ward.
Ladies and gentlemen, a yellow card caution has been issued by the referee in the number 62 play to the Fire, number 8, Grant Ward.
Oh, Onangano. Defensively there, nudges it away.
And it's certainly something that Juan Luis Onangano brings to the Chicago Fire. It's been well documented, the troubles the team has had with set plays.
Here trying to combine with Alex. Gehrig the clearance, but not out of danger. About 4 minutes remaining in this match. Here in extra time. Amarikwa and Onangano have struck for the Fire. It's Harry Ship playing like a veteran tonight. Just watching Ship's movement off the ball, always putting himself in a good place to be a ready option when a teammate becomes distressed or is forced. Is Jeff Lorenowitz. It's been a long match as he's taken a slight little knock in the midfield. The Ginger Ninja, as they called him in Colorado, back up on his feet.
He's furious, the referee. Didn't get the decision he wanted. And this is just comfortable now for the Fire, winding down the clock.
Quincy threatening, bounding wide off the side netting. But helped out, yet another corner.
Nice effort from Amarikwa. He sees his strike partner and has a brace. He says, I want one too.
Looked like a little 12-year-old there trying to slalom through all the Crew defenders and use that pace, Quincy Amarikwa. Here's Jeff Lorenowitz. Harry Shipp. And that was deflected off of Kevon George.
Columbus is a defeated side now. You can see the enthusiasm of Will Trapp, but when Chicago have the ball, they're not pressing. They're not looking to win it back.
Say in your homeland, Kev, I think they're out of petrol, meaning gas.
You know, you look back, when you look back at games like this, especially games that go all the way to extra time, you look at key moments. Columbus 2-1 up. Midway through the second half, Sean Johnson made an absolutely miraculous save to get down low, made himself really, really big, and saved the day for the Fire when it looked like Columbus were the team to go on and win this game.
Those little saves that make a big difference at the end. Ben Spees looking for one last launching opportunity.
The substitute of Anongano. Huge impact on this match. And then, of course, the start. Inside the first half of extra time, the start by the Fire, the Fire team looked an awful lot fresher than Columbus. Got the early goal, and then Parkhurst sending off. It's a game of inches.
And the word I think of the substitution for Juan Luis Anongano is the faith from manager Frank Yallop. There's been a ton of misses this year from Juan Luis Anongano. Continues to create chances, and that faith finally pays off tonight with the brace.
Looking like a road trip to Atlanta. The date still yet to be decided upon.
Yep, the Peachtree State beckons. Wasn't easy in extra time. The Chicago Fire take down the Columbus Crew 4-2 the final. They advance to the quarterfinals to face the Atlanta Silverbacks.
Extremely hard-fought win for the Fire. The Crew performed really, really well in the second half of this match. Dominated the game, looked to get in behind the Chicago Fire with the two players up top and looked the better side in the second half. But it was all about that substitution of Anongano. The Fire clawed their way back into the game, managed to bring it to extra time. And that's when the men in red, far superior.
Defensively, still wanting for perfection. They don't keep a clean sheet. Columbus was able to grab the momentum there for a while, but once again, this team proves, and it was a big question coming into the season, are they going to be able to score enough goals? Well, if a guy like Juan Luis Anongano can start scoring consistently, the answer is definitively yes.
Yeah, 3 different goal scorers on the night for the Fire. 100% record against the Columbus Crew in US Open Cup play. That's 5 matches played, 5 matches won for the Fire. And now, all of a sudden, it looks like a cup run could be made by the Fire. A win against Pittsburgh Riverhounds.
Well, what a match it was. We saw a lot of soccer. We'll go to some video and highlights and look back at all the glorious goals. And there's the one that really stands out for you, the Patrick Ianni. Just how he could get to that ball, Kevin.
The desire, the outstretched leg, just to get to it. Look at that. 110% commitment. Wanted it all the way. But it was a beautiful cross by Harry Shipp. Columbus, well, they got right back into it.
Honor, the difference maker there by the outstretched paws. Sean Johnson just gets a piece of it.
Yeah, Columbus 2-1 up at that point. Juan Luis Anongano comes in for Mike McGee. Matt Watson picks out the pass. And it wasn't a crisp strike from Anongano by any means. But the ball found the back of the net, and that's all that matters.
So the equalizer in the 82nd minute. Another look at that Patrick Ianni goal. As you mentioned, he's not a great goal scorer, but he scores great goals.
He does indeed. Scored a cracker against Sporting Kansas City to win MLS Goal of the Year. And this goal, look, Anongano went for the goal there. I've no doubt about that. Luckily for the Fire, it found Harry Shipp, Squared it to Ameriqua, and he flexes his guns. Good finish from a guy in great form this season.
And again, it's Greg Cochran starting things with the cross that, as you mentioned, mishit by Anangano, but when it's your night, it's your night.
And then the fire went on to really wrap this game up. Juan Luis Anangano in confident form after his first goal. Beautiful cross from the boot of the Brazilian Alex toward the back post. Juan Luis, classy finish from the left foot.
So that's the final 4-2. The Chicago Fire will advance to the quarterfinals and play Atlanta, yet to be determined July 8th or 9th. Again, thanks for watching. For Kevin Egan, I'm Dan Kelly. It's been a pleasure and honor to help deliver the U.S. Open Cup match to both Crew fans and Chicago Fire supporters. Tonight, the final. Fire advance with the victory in extra time over Columbus, 4-2. Until the next time, good night from Toyota Park.